Ladies and gentlemen, live via satellite from Los Angeles, California, Mr. Antichrist superstar himself, Marilyn Manson.
How's it going, New York? I chose to speak to you in a square because I think we're kind of conditioned to listen to people when they're in the shape of a square. And also, here in Hollywood, this is where we give people what they want. Violence, I guess that's what it seems to come down to. But what I wanted to talk to everyone today about, I don't really want to preach, I just want to more bring up some questions. And since I always tend to be a scapegoat, I thought we'd talk about blame. Right now, everybody wants to blame music, they want to blame movies, but if we've forgotten that we have a dead guy hanging from a tree in our living rooms, and that's something that we've worshipped all our lives. If you think about the crucifix as the greatest mass market piece of merchandise in the history of the world, I've always found that to be kind of interesting. We haven't really sat down and talked about that on the news. Also wondered why nobody cares when an adult commits some senseless act of violence. They don't want to have a reason why. It's only when a kid does it. Oswald, oh well, he was a commie. Timothy McVeigh, oh, he's crazy. What about Bill Clinton? Why do you shoot all those bombs and kill all those foreigners? Oh, well, he's the president. That's the American way. But I think what's really begun to confuse people now, why we're in this state of chaos and PC nonsensical uptightness. It's white teenagers. That's the real enigma. Why are they mad? They're middle class. They're white. They're spoiled. Their parents even buy some of them guns. What do they have to be mad about? Is it because they know America's a lie? Is it because we make them feel like they're never good enough? You're never good enough for the scholarship, for the car, for the girl. Never good enough to be famous for 15 minutes. Is it the first race in kindergarten where it starts when mom's yelling, get the white ribbon, get the white ribbon. Oh, I got the yellow ribbon. And mom's, oh, well, it's okay, it's okay. Then high school football games and soccer moms screaming, kill him, kill him. The ancient Rome reappears. You got moms, you got kids, they all want blood, they always have. It's not new. People pretend like just because Maury Povich or Fox News or Montel Williams says times are violent, that it's something, it's brand new. But the thing that kind of struck me that has been avoided and ignored, because people always want to point the finger at someone like me because I'm an obvious and easy target because I look like I cause problems, and I do, I try to. But I think just like the gladiator, the sports hero is the icon in the status quo, more than Elvis or James Dean ever was. He's in the Wheaties, he's at McDonald's, he's in the movie. He even has his own talk show. Or he did in some cases. But what is that saying to kids when we think about it for a second? Sports. Physical prowess is more important than intelligence, knowledge. Is that encouraging America to be not only more violent, but dumber? Are we going backwards on the evolution chart? I actually would like to check, but it's gone because the creationists have taken it away. You can't even find the evolutionary chart anymore. I think, everyone growing up knows that jocks ruled the school. You look at a movie like The Outsiders or Heathers. The nerds, the throwaways, the thinkers, the daydreamers. These are the beaten. These are the kids that can't drink out of the water fountain today. I don't see anyone standing up for their civil rights. And then we say, are we surprised why they're mad or why they end up dead? Why the violence? You made them, America. What do you expect? Look at Woodstock, for example. well, it was supposed to be hippies and love and PC and United Colors of Benetton and bottled water. But instead, they got riots, fire, and rape. And part of it, I think, is this phenomenon that, to me, is related to sports. And it's when rap and rock began to mix, and we created this oxymoron called jock rock. And to me, it's kind of like people come to a party that they don't understand, but they're just smart enough to know that they're the stupidest people there. So that makes them mad. I think that's what Woodstock was. You had these white kids in football jerseys trying to make rock and roll a sport by raping girls and beating each other up, and everybody's surprised. Well, why? It's the music. I think part of man's evolution is always to compete. I think parents, they're driving their kids, particularly through sports. You got O.J. Simpson. Oh, he can't be guilty. He's an American hero. We were just about to put his face on the $3 bill. And then, this Ray Caruth guy, this NFL wide receiver, just charged with murdering his pregnant girlfriend. People, did they ask why? Why'd he do it? No one cares why. Ray Lewis, this NFL linebacker, charged with a double homicide in Atlanta on Super Bowl Sunday, the most violent day of the year, with the most expensive commercial time, of course. He's out on bail. He's charged with murdering 2 people, and he's out on bail. You got Charles Manson sitting in prison for conspiracy, sentenced to death, and you got this other guy walking the streets because he's a sports hero. One story that really struck me and got me thinking about this was a few years ago. There was this teenage punk rocker kid who was run down in an IHOP parking lot by a white jock and his girlfriend in Dad's Cadillac. And this boy died because he looked different, and he was run down by a drunk piece of shit that hated him and had always picked on him. And it was a situation where you've got 6 kids who, got their noses pierced, and you've got 30 jocks who are the popular kids at school. And they're picking on them. They're calling them fags. They're calling them whatever. So this thing happens. This guy kills this kid and is clearly guilty. His guilt is admitted. And guess where this all-American athlete is? He's in college. The jury felt the punk rocker deserved to die because he looked the way he did. And not only was he killed, but then in the trial, he was killed again because they, criticized his lifestyle because he didn't, wear Tommy Hilfiger shirts and khaki pants, And then the killer was even applauded at graduation because he was a football star. The American dream, strong, normal. He never spent a day in prison. So who do we blame? Everybody wants to say, too much violence today, Did anyone forget about the Civil War or the Bible or Shakespeare? Violence isn't brand new. And I don't even think seeing violence is the problem. I think there's a more serious problem that seeing violence as a solution to solve a problem is what is sending a bad message to kids growing up. Even going back to a Western, the hero kills the villain, saves the day. Children grew up in World War II, and they learned that total violence was the answer. And I think that that's where, a dying culture began, and a dying culture kills everything that it touches. So these kids grew up learning this. They pass these values down with pride. We won the war, but, damn that Hitler, genocide and all those terrible things he did. Forget it, we dropped the bomb, but that's different. We're Americans and we believe in God. So that's where they kind of create what I like to call the God Band-Aid. that's when you got a problem. You stick the God Band-Aid on, you know. My record's dirty and violent, but I just won a Grammy. So, you know, I want to thank God. Or, you know, oh, someone just killed my daughter. And they're like, oh, well, it's okay. She's with God now. Oh, okay. Or, you know, you killed somebody. But I believe in God now, so, you know, it's okay. Then all the other people with the God Band-Aids see that. They go, oh, he's like us. He's okay. Let's let him go. You know, so bad parents make bad kids. You know, that's the way I look at it. That's why I asked the question. You know, I put this up on my website. I said, is adult entertainment killing our children? Or is killing our children entertaining adults? I think that's kind of the question we got to ask ourselves today. And you ask yourself that every time you watch the hungry cameras at the crime scene, or at the funeral, or at the plane crash, interviewing the victims, you know, 24-hour footage, watching the guy blow his brains out on the LA freeway, you know. I'm in a square right now. You're looking at me. I'm looking at myself in a monitor. You know, we sit in front of the TV, and we are the TV. We're a copy staring at a copy, at a copy, at a copy. It's like the guy on Jerry Springer, who is always looking at the monitor to see if he sees himself. And that becomes a loop, because you see it, and you see yourself again and again and again. So, eventually it's a Xerox that's so degenerated, we don't know which came first. And that's where we are. That's what I'd like to leave you with.
Did you know that the day that Columbine happened, the United States dropped more bombs on Kosovo than any other time during that war?
I do know that, and I think that that's really ironic, that nobody said, well, maybe the president had an influence on this violent behavior. Because that's not the way the media wants to take it and spin and turn it into fear, because then you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder. Cut to commercial. Buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you. And it's just it's a campaign of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume. Mm-hmm. And that's really as simple as it can be boiled down to.
Right. If you were to talk directly to the kids at Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.